Welcome everybody to Tenax Proving Grounds number 9. I am very excited to be joining you once again. It's been a while since I've been on the desk, but something very special happening today. It's our first round, well, first day one stream covering our games that we have in the first day of our event. It is an addition we made in the new year, and I hope that you're all excited to see some of the teams that quite often don't quite make it to day two, but are teams that are frequently playing in our events. But what I do want to do is welcome my co-caster, Mr. Pixelbush, who you'll see on your screen. Will, how you doing, man?
Hello, hello, hello. Thanks, Zach. It is great to be here for today, our first event of 2026. I've never done a day one before. Well, again, nobody really has. So I'm really looking forward to seeing some teams that maybe we wouldn't normally see on a day two. But no, I'm really, really gassed for this. How's your Christmas been? Obviously, a good
Oh,
break over the
Christmas.
holidays.
Christmas is good, yeah. That is a thing. I hope everyone has a good holiday period. My Christmas is good. Saw a lot of family. It was nice as well for everyone to just take a break because we've been doing 8 straight events. It's been very busy.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah, it's been a
it was
round
nice
schedule.
just to wind down, and like not have to think about it too much because it is
That's
a very
agree
busy period, especially
Yeah, for sure.
we made that decision though. We did that last event mid-December and then took a January break, so we've had a nice month-long
Yeah.
break, and we've increased the amount of teams. That's I guess another update. We've gone from 16 teams now to 24 teams. So
Fantastic.
that's been an interesting change. What it does mean is that we have an extra round of 8 matches, but our top 8 teams are automatically seeded through to the second round. Well, I'm talking about the event actually. How was your Christmas? Well, first,
My,
let me ask how you are personally
of
first before I
course.
start yapping
Yeah,
about the event.
mine was pretty okay. Just pretty low key. Saw my family. Got an air fryer, so I spent early January air frying everything within arm's reach. Um, so yeah, it's not been particularly special, but it's been a good time. Obviously, spending time with a certain little lady who is right here in my hands. The main character of the universe,
Oh,
Cassie.
Cassie, yeah. The last time I think she was shedding, right? So she wasn't very active. But
Yes, no, she wasn't,
this is
but
the most
today she's
active we've ever seen
much.
her.
Yeah, today she's much more feeling much more adventurous, and she's quite like you wouldn't imagine with her hanging onto my hand like this. You wouldn't imagine that she's actually 4 feet long, or very very close to it. Like she looks way smaller than she is, but she's grown so much. And yeah, it's good to have her out and about today. I imagine she's quite active because she knows she's going to get fed tonight, so she's hunting. That's what she's doing. So yeah,
She's officially the Tenax mascot, right? As of today.
if you like. No, well, yeah. A warning to our players: you are being watched. You are being judged. She cannot say anything, but she has. But a little snake brain will be paying attention, even if she can't, smell you. But she's doing very. But she's having a wonderful. She's having a wonderful time. She's been chilling in her water bowl a lot lately. She's got a little snake sauna going on in there. But for today's event, she'll probably spend a lot of time on the microphone because where she likes to sit. Although I think she wants to go away at the moment. No, I don't miss.
It's nice. You have to forgive me for not being so talkative at some points because I am having to actively do stuff in the background whilst I'm
Oh,
casting.
absolutely.
But it is.
You are locked the hell in.
I am locked in, and about 50 things are going on at the minute. But we have the players coming into the lobby, so we should be getting in the way soon.
Absolutely.
I'm excited to see it. So it's gonna be Mastermind on Quartile 1 for
Yeah,
our best of 1 today.
I like
It
the
is a very
sound of
popular
that.
killer. This is actually the same killer pool we had last event. So no changes made, so no changes to balancing. But as expected, Mastermind has been a pretty popular pick in
Yeah.
our first selection of matches.
Yeah, because he's not a killer who's seen a huge amount on the day twos that we've had screened before. I think maybe we've seen one Wesker set. Well, it's the one that I've casted. I've only seen one Wesker set on Tenax so far. At least of the matches that I specifically have casted. So I'm really looking forward to seeing Wesker on Cold Tower. That seems like a very like no one's going to complain about that matchup because obviously you get a lot of some people find Plague or Ghostface, whatever, to be fairly uninteresting sets. But Wesker, I can't see anyone really complaining about playing against Wesker on Cole. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this plays out.
Me too. I think the Cold Tower has been through kind of a rough patch the past few months because it's had
Yes, it has.
a lot of changes to the palette density, to the orange, like the random number generation that it's quite often prone to a lot of sets, but specifically with a lot of the tile changes. I say tile changes. The way that they have changed to map generation in general has kind of affected this map, but they did revert it to make it a little bit better.
Yeah, and the words palette density update sending shivers down your spine.
Yeah, yeah, it's almost like it's very ominous, isn't it? So
absolutely.
But yeah, Kotaro is this is a very traditional set though in the competitive scene. It is a very fun killer. I think a Wesker's his journey through comp has been definitely more of a on the decline, and that's mainly because his limitations with his power has basically been figured out, but also in general his limitations on the map itself. There's a lot of nuance there with where you want to die on the map and things like that, like positional play, and in general these guys will be pretty practiced on it, even if they are lower tier teams or teams that quite often you don't see on day two. So it should in theory result in a pretty competitive game. So I'm looking forward to that.
Absolutely. Well, that's kind of part of that's kind of the quirk of Wesker, really, is that he's a killer who can do some very impressive things in some very skilled hands, but most of them only work like very, very reliably when the survivors don't know how to play around them. And these are going to be teams who, almost by definition, will know how to play around them. So this is kind of I think we're more likely to see something that might be more back to basics. If you're some of those people who are like fiending for the insane Wesker clips that you see on Twitter, those are generally done against worse survivors than you're going to be seeing today. So I'm interested to see if it's quite kind of almost a solved set in a sense, how this is going to be handled. I'm curious. Put it this way, I'm very, very curious.
Yes, indeed. We're gonna have Nocturne first on Killer, and Nocturne are a team that have been playing in Tenax since the start. They joined us for the first event, and they've played in every single one since then. Very very lovely team. I've had the pleasure of knowing them the whole time, and looking forward to see their gameplay directly, because it's not been something that I've kind of had vision of in my time. But now that we get some stream coverage for them, I'm sure that they're maybe experiencing something different in the time for the event, especially with Unchained as well, their opponents. But we are, without further ado, getting straight into it.
Yeah, so we got ourselves Egg and Beetle, to the surprise of absolutely nobody.
It's a pretty Beetle's kind of risen in popularity. I say it was always popular, but it's mainly because of those edge map throws that like you lose distance, but also you basically can guarantee death in some scenarios.
Yeah.
I want to say though that part of those map updates have been to add pallets to the edge map, so it's kind of lost a bit of I want to say like it's lost a bit of strength because of that. But at the same time, it's still a very good add-on to use on this map, and kind of pretty go-to add-on that a lot of Wesker players like to favor.
Absolutely. So it finds 2 survivors on an uncorrupted generator, just takes the eruption kick. Notably, that little yellow brutal bar, making that eruption kick feel a little bit better. Obviously, that's not why you run it, but it's nice. And we see a little kind of awful filler getting chewed through. Nice locker hop from Max here to stay out of the stay safe from the bound.
That is good. I was gonna say they're getting the chase in this top side where the corrupt intervention is. It's the best place to chase at the start of the game, whilst the rest of the team gets those key generators done. They're going to want to break a 3-gen. Wesker's not really the most effective at holding it, but if you do find deaths in in those areas, it can be pretty rough for the team. I'm not too sure where he was thrown, but I didn't hear.
Extremely. That didn't look like it should have been a throw, but the animation suggested that it was. So yeah.
You disappoint me. Is that
Yeah, forced to play 50s on this terrible pallet. It's going to be the first down. You see a lot of progress on the gens so far, but that's going to be Max taking the first hook of the game.
Pain Resonance is going to at least delay one of those gens a little bit. They dodge the screen.
Oh, this is cool. He's checking the lockers for any like pre-stealthing survivors.
Makes sense. I'm going to see 2 gens pop here most likely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
But all things considered, you know, I think that was a respectful chase from our survivor, considering that there wasn't really much of use there.
Yeah.
I guess maybe focusing more on positional play, which sometimes will benefit your team in the long run, rather than trying to run from tile to tile and maybe take the killer to somewhere where the gens are being progressed. Focusing your chase in a less active area is sometimes more beneficial.
Although critically, as you said, there were not that many resources at this corner of the map to begin with, and 3 pallets did get burned, including the one attached directly to main. So we might start to see a bit of a dead zone developing here, especially in an area of the map that Fremen seems to be clinging pretty closely to, and that has 3, maybe even 4 gens if you include that little one by the 4 lane. In kind of a 3/4 gen, and that's a secured second stage onto Max there. Looks like Fremen is just playing defend the hook simulator, because
yeah, this is a common thing that you'll see in mastermind sets where they hold down a choke point on the map. They've got their gen secured in the area. They've got a second stage secured, and he's got enough time now to commit to some form of chase and try to get a stage on the board. That being said, it didn't quite work out. The unhook comes through, and the Further People comes through now, protecting the tunnel out target. So we'll see if Fra can. Yeah, he's found him. Look, that Christmas Dwight running off. Not the most camouflaged fellow right there. But
yeah. Another critical pallet gets burned. But Fremen kind of zones Max out here. He's not really got many great places he can run once that pallet's been burned.
Oh, wow.
Swift down.
Yeah, the pathing. I mean, it looks like he wanted to get to that safety in the top of the map, but maybe felt like he didn't have enough distance. He definitely didn't. There was a pallet on a 9 that you could see on the rock. But yeah, that's going to be a survivor dead. 3 gens completed.
Critically, an eruption prop did reveal Ditter's aura there. So we're going to see likely another eruption coming in. Now that the purple cooldown, 2 people injured. A 4 gen, 3.5 gen. So all in all, I and pretty much every pallet near the main side burned. Not every single one, but the majority of them. So this is going to be a bit of a slog, perhaps. Settle in, everyone. This might be this might take a while.
But okay, we didn't see anything. Trust.
Of course not.
The drop down with that balance line, he's going to force the grab. But crucially, he's still dead on this like deep top side of the map, and he's going to give a pain resonance stack here on this crucial hook. This is such good pain res RNG. Like, he's got 2 pain res hooks in his top side that he's trying to defend. You have a survivor injured, survivor on hook, and he's got pretty good kind of sight on this side of the map as well. So he's set up for success here. He's found Ditter, who's injured, the team captain for Unchained.
Now, as everybody is, given the unhook just happened.
Oh, that was a good window vault too. He's gonna be forced to play this TNL wall. Wouldn't be surprised if he sends it to Shaq, which he is doing, and Framun, rightfully so, doesn't want to commit that. Wants to try and find that injured survivor. Considering how fast that reset came through, I would presume it was on the hook, so he knows he doesn't have to worry about survivor escaping too far. That being said, though, that commit to the bot side now means that they've got some space to work with, like in terms of getting out of this area.
Indeed. It is. Between eruptions and pain resonance, we might start to see the anti-3-gen system kicking in if this goes on that much longer. But well, we will, maybe that's the plan, to limit Fra's access to eruption procs by just badgering the gens constantly, because they've got 3 gens that have at least some progress on them. Because main building had some work done on it as well. But it was see if Fra manages to catch somebody out, because right now it's a patience game. Fra can't completely commit to a chase until at least one of the gens is completely regressed, because if Chase is 1, the other 2 hop on the vulnerable generator. Ditter has been found, the injured survivor, aka the exact one you want. And there we go.
And he dies without too much effort as well. I mean, look at this mid map. He's got two little fillers there on the rocks, but isn't able to make use of them at all. And this is going to be a 3rd pain resonance stack, unless he wants to hop for a more. Yeah, he's going for a more positional hook here, because he wants the survivors to come into his his territory and say no, come and hook. Trust me, it's safe.
Luminous on the right. Did he spot him? I assume he did.
He did, yeah.
Eruption's about to come back off cooldown, so about to see an eruption proc coming in, maybe, if he can't immediately get a health state. Oh, he's trying to defend the hook, because Mazboy is right there, fiending for that unhook. Yeah. Now, he can put himself quite comfortably now between Maz and the hook. Oh, possibly still getting that eruption proc down. Oh, he's trying to coax Luminous in the direction maybe where. Okay, he's just holding W away from the fresh unhook, forcing him to choose to potentially go for a tunnel out or printing a reset or connecting to the chase. Luminous here.
Oh, I was gonna say good patience, but he misses the crucial grab.
Very, very tight play from Luminous there, forcing Fra to make some split-second choices.
I'm getting a lot of use out of this TNL wall.
Absolutely.
I feel like Fra could have prevented. He does commit to that vault, and this is going to definitely be a death now. Should be a swing. Oh my god, no, the ping seems to be on point.
Yeah, Luminous paying for gigabit or something, I don't know. In any case, Luminous has made this chase last a very long time with very little resources, so mad respect to him for that. He's on like this palette, right? I was gonna say he's got a good ping, but he's not in fact a wizard, so he doesn't quite make that palette. We are going to see another pain res coming in here, though, which he does need to justify all that time sunk into the chase. But I didn't see any auras from eruption. I didn't see any. So yeah, okay, that's a full infection onto Jake, which is fine because he's already injured anyway, so it wouldn't matter. Maz is the for the people, so yeah, I can see why they would want to deny him the unhook at least.
Holding him at edge map here.
Yeah.
It's going to be a probably opt for a grab here, to be honest, if you want, because of Beetle.
He can get one.
But because it's not a throw, he will. Yeah, he will make Shack now because of that, and I don't think Fra will commit. Yeah, precisely what I was expecting. Doesn't want to commit there. And this gen's getting dangerously close, but they're crucially all 3 of them injured. 1 person fully infected. I mean, it's not like it matters. It's just a 4% slowdown. It's not going to be the healthy insta down that we're used to seeing.
Absolutely. Well, Luminous is kind of getting zoned out. He's the one uninfected survivor. So are we about to witness complete global saturation?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. But
well, what? That is the score event if you fully infect or if you give Ouroboros or 4 survivors. That is what it says.
Global saturation. See, I didn't know that. Is that enabled even with that Iri add-on as well? Or?
Yes. If you use that Iri add-on, you'll load in and get that score event for global saturation.
Oh, that takes me back to the time where it was bugged, where you just get instantly infected. Do you remember that? Instantly infected. It was just abused for like months.
Yeah, with Lethal Pursuer, it was, as the kids say, not fun. So we're gonna see a pick from Moon here. Again, the one remaining pain resonance is Ditter. It's not Luminous. So we're going to see the humble deep hook, you know, far away from anything we usually get from that corner. But we will see if it's enough, because those gens are not a million miles from being completed, and the gens are going to get spiky soon. So there's only so many more kicks they can get out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm wondering what's taking so long for them to reset. Okay, yeah, they've masked it nicely, but Fraser's going to go and have a look, because they're both, like, one of them is going to have to reveal themselves. Yeah, exactly.
Oh. And that's where both of them are then.
Exactly, yeah.
presumably.
So you've compromised everyone's location right there.
Ditter's
wants to
going to
go
have
for
to
him.
disinfect if he wants to unhook safely. And
I imagine
his
he's got to
question-
go for that rotation straight
Yeah.
away, surely.
Where's the
Frost
question?
should be able to catch him out.
Maz is the one carrying the can,
Oh,
so it's very possible that Ditter does not have a way to remove his infection, even if he wanted to.
should be.
That's
Oh,
throw.
I swear to God, he should have been able to M1 that.
Yeah, for sure. I think he.
Oh.
I think he tapped M2. He didn't need to.
The thing is, Fry can commit to this because he knows how much progress is on the bot side.
Yeah,
So
so
what's-
progressing for a while.
Whilst he might like lose access to maybe another tunnel out, he's gonna be able to freely just take the surf and go back.
Yeah. And because Maz was the one carrying the can and not Ditter, that means that if Ditter wants to remove that infection, he'll need to go find another can. Presumably. He might be carrying one, but
Do I see a world where they get this last gen done? No, it's gonna be difficult. They did
it
well
will
to
be a
get the
challenge.
that fourth one done, but oh, someone's just dropped down. I think
Yeah,
maybe
that's bloodstains there, so I think that's luminous.
and it comes through. He's got
Yep,
full
there we
information of where everyone is now.
Luminous at the LT wall. If I was pro right now, I'd be feeling the pressure. You know, come on, I'm gonna not do this again. Does Luminous picks a just chat? I think he's just going to drop the chase there. Does not want to risk the double up on the last gen, especially if that gen is the one in the main building. Yep, Ditter finally removes that infection. It's been lingering on him for about 400 years.
I mean, this rotation of survivors is probably the worst case scenario for Nocturne because he's not getting any of these eliminations. He's just getting like everyone to second stage. He's playing Mr. Nice Guy right now.
Yes, he is. Well,
So-
and people say comp is just tunneling.
Exactly. Look at Mr. Nice Guy on Nocturne right here.
Yes.
Showing us what comp should be, you know?
And there's going to be another second stage on Ditter here, but does Frost not bothering with the pick? If there's a paint res right there, I could see a world where he goes for the pick, but I don't think he's got one in the immediate vicinity of the down. So I imagine we're going to see probably more like gen kicks coming out here.
Yeah, when he's taking that chase, he's definitely got like an internal clock running because you've got to realize how much progress you have, and then what's the maximum amount of progression they can have if I take this chase. That is a unfortunate M2 there, not connecting. Should still be an M1 though. Should be.
With the 4% for sure.
Go down. The pickup comes in, so that confirms to Fra that both survivors are on the bot side, nowhere near gens. So this could be a second kill, and I think we're looking at a pretty secured 4K1.
Yes, I would be astonished if they went any other way at this point. And now it'd be a question of unless Luminous can lead Fra on one of those exquisite LT wall juicer chasers that we saw earlier, and Fra for some reason commits to that. There isn't really how the last thing gets done here. It is the writing's on the wall. It's just a question of you know, how long the serves can make it last, you know. And well, we will, if nothing else, we're at least probably going to get a good chase or two. So
Where did that reset happen? It took a while to do, and I'm gonna have a quick peek whilst I
makes
see where these
sense.
survivors are, as I
Hey,
have the
we are not
opportunity
the
to.
killer. Yeah, we are not the killer, so we can do whatever we want. We are mighty and powerful. I was just hitting
Oh, I should
those
update
gens
the,
yet more.
After forgive me, I'm also on the score update that you see at the top of the screen, and I'm busy yapping, so
No, of course.
might be a little bit of a delay, but there we go, all updated.
Yeah.
Just finished that 4th gen a while ago. Oops.
Yeah, Luminous and Ditter here, just, you know, they know that it's pretty much Jova here, but the gens will just keep progressing until. Oh, there's Luminous. There's Luminous found. So that's going to be grudge match at the LT, maybe. Oh no, maybe not. Not yet. Getting. Yeah, possibly the last pallet on the main building side of the map burned. Oh no, there is one there. I tell a lie.
You're paying for
Luminous fairly confident it's supposed to chase, which is perfectly fine. Would be Luminous's chases this game have been reliably pretty excellent. It is just unfortunate that Fra dealt with his teammates quickly enough that there's only so much that can be done with that additional chase time. But it's enough to scare to scare Fra into dropping the chase and taking it over with Ditter instead.
But Ditter has been found. He's going to have to play this gen for safety. That's a good deny of power, and he should still make the pallet as well.
Sure.
Does have brutal, so it's not really going to mean much. Oh, now he's giving pallet control. Oh, he's holding W.
And
Nice.
Slam. Did burn both rush tokens though, so we'll see how long he can hold W for. Is he going to commit to this? Because, well, just his gen has at least started. No, there we go. There goes the down. No aura reading on eruption. Might have gotten off the gen, or might have.
Oh, he's found him. That is going to be. Yeah. We are staring down the barrel of a 4K1.
Yeah, let's see how long. It is. The time has come. It's the grudge match at the LT. It's what I've been waiting for.
Once again, we return.
Yeah. You could not deal with your failure, so this brought you back to me. Luminous isn't saying that, the LT Wall is saying that. Luminous is just there for win addressing.
It's going to walk for a bound, yeah.
Yeah, see if he can get the throw, but not quite.
No, of course, the air being particularly thick at that point.
Yeah. My favorite part of Resident Evil 5 is when the air decided to just turn into a brick wall. So, you know, it's law friendly. I can see why he just waits for the hinder to kick in. That's the advanced version of Bloodlusting, just waiting for the Wesker hinder to eventually slow you down.
Is going to go for the ladder 1v1 championship.
Yeah. No, Luminous the Chase has been really confident this entire game, so I'm glad to see it end. To see it end this way. Like, these chases in general have been very, very good. It was just the monumental back hook pain res into the confirmed second stage. Getting the kill before more than 2 gens were done. Like, that was a hard momentum swing that it was challenging for others to come back from. They held some really good chases, so, you know, to their credit.
Yeah, we had like an early second stage, right, which always sets you up for success, especially when it was he was rotating hooks in that top side. And one of the things is if you can pressure that side of the map and where all your gens are, the survivors can't get much done, and they kind of are forced to come to you. You know, the tempo of the game will always be in favor of you as killer when you're in that situation. So it's always going to lead to more hook stages. And Wesker, don't get me wrong, Wesker is not typically someone that you see or expect outs on. Sorry, no, like 4Ks on.
Yeah.
So you know that there is generally going to be outs. So a 4K you can be seriously happy with.
Yeah, it'll be a hell of a challenge to see if to see how Unchained is able to pull us back. Because, yeah, 4K is nothing on a killer like Wesker. That's going to be a bit of a challenge. But hopefully it's one that Unchained will be able to rise to in a satisfying fashion. That was a really, really great first game of 2026.
It was Nocturne getting a 4K one. And now all his Survivor team needs to do is complete 5 generators to secure the win, basically.
And that, yeah. And
or secure a 4K one in faster time. That is also a dynamic that we added as pretty unique to Tenax at the minute.
Yeah, so it seems like a really solid way to kind of tie break. And I'm curious to see how the knowledge that you just need to get 5 gens, you don't even need to get outs with 5 gens done. I'm curious to see how the team is going to play around that, because it means that things like aggressive campouts might be less viable to try and secure kills, because you know that every second you spend not directly pressuring the gens will be spent with them humping those gens like a dog with your slippers. It's gonna be it's gonna be a real challenge to keep the survivors under enough pressure to stop them from just doing gens, because that's all they're going to need to do.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's again like it's so rehearsed. The oh, got a DM. No, yeah, it's so rehearsed too. Like there's so many scenarios that unfold on a map like this that you kind of damage control and how to deal with it. Some teams struggle with it. Some teams are like very practiced. And in this case, it very much seemed like Moon was practiced on the map itself.
Absolutely. Now, I have to really respect the way that Fra, the methodical way with which Fra played that game, because again, we were some very competent, competent chase players. Like Luminous, we know the LT wall wizard, but everyone held up some pretty solid chases. But Fra knew when to cut his losses, and that's what you have to do in a situation like that, where inevitably it can be a hard thing to do, to be, again, knowing you've not really got time on your side until someone's dead, and knowing that you've only got so many gen kicks in you because of Eruption taking up double regression events, and you're trying to hold that 3 gen at the end of the day. So it can be very tempting to kind of throw caution to the wind and try to get your hooks and your Eruption procs in quickly. How damn the consequences, it's assume your chase speed is going to get you there. But I like that Fra was able to show a bit of restraint, to know, okay, even when 1, maybe even 2 people were dead, yeah, let's drop this. Let's take just 1 injury or even a bit of distance, break a pallet, and get back to business defending the gens, as opposed to committing to these long chases. Like, it was, he respected the survivor's capacity to waste his time. And that, I think, was the key to turning that fairly early kill into the win. Even though the survivors did know what they were doing in terms of evading the power, like even watching Ditta like cowering behind that gen and seeing how much time that bought him. Like it's these little interactions that can, on a killer with a power that has as long cooldown as Wesker's, and a killer's power is conditional as Wesker's, like that's the kind of incremental value that forced Fra to make difficult decisions, and well, he made the right ones. So let's see if Unchained's killer can bear that in mind.
Yes, indeed. Luminous is going to be picking up the Wesker, the mastermind, for his team.
Yep.
On the survivor roster of Nocturne getting in here.
And Fra running the all-time greatest Cheryl fit of all time, as we know. It's the brand new one. So I have to appreciate a man with style. I truly do. So running it back onto Cold Tower, what did you think of the kind of the resource density? Because obviously we're worried a little bit, at least maybe less so these days after the pallet density update largely got reverted. But what do you think of the resource density that we had in the last match? Do you think that was? Do you reckon Fra had an uphill battle? Or do you reckon it was more reasonable?
I think it was pretty reasonable.
Yeah, that's how I feel too.
Oh, I tell you what, the top side of main and towards the right hand side of main looked pretty barren, and I believe that's where we had our first chase. So we had our survivor kind of run straight to the only dead zone that looked to be on the map. But you kind of run out of options, especially when the Wesker's running Beetle, because you run into that dead zone, he gets a good angle on you. You're essentially confirmed dead. So I think there was good decision making there. But yeah, I think in terms of the map in general, I think that yeah, that time around it was semi decent for the survivors. But that being said, the I think the odds were in Fromun's favor where he had his two pain resonance hooks, two of
Definitely.
them on the top side, and then he had the kind of combination of that dead zone. So there's no like relative safety up there, which kind of really helped him out, kind of
Yeah,
secure the stages as we went on.
because after that first chase, there was a quarter of the map that was basically just had nothing in it because it had that kind of bulky 4-laney type structure. I'm not sure what the tile is called, but it reminds me a bit of a 4-lane. The one with a pallet in the middle of it. Like there was that pallet there. There was the filler by the gen next to it, and then there was the two pallets by main, and those all went apart from I think the one by the in between the gen and the hill in the first chase. So that was a whole quarter of the map, a quarter with 2 gens in it, and that was the pathway to the third gen, with just no playable resources in it apart from a window. And that created, and that they see a lot of the early action of the game took place right there. It was only really once survivors started to die that chases were taken on Shack side or even on the more stacked other half of main side. So yeah, it was one kind of critical weakness on the map. That was also where the pain resonance, the deep back pain resonance hook was, and it all just sort of came together the way it was supposed to for all that.
Yeah, lots of it's very extensive like dissection of the game at I mean maybe maybe these players might not even fully realize, but yeah, there's a lot that goes into small decisions, especially on a map like this.
Yeah, obviously Cold Tower being a fairly small map, these little decisions, even on a killer without insane mobility, do matter a lot. Just because obviously if you're playing on a bigger map, a killer with less mobility, they'll end up the decisions feel like they don't matter sometimes because they don't have the means to correct or they don't, and like a little play means that you might have to spend a lot of time getting where you need to go. So you might realize what's going on, but not have time to make it there. Whereas on Cold Tower, you can get anywhere you need to get to within a decent amount of time. So it forces the survivor and the killer to play in quite a confined space. Obviously, West has got a dash, but it's not great for actual mobility. Yeah, that was pretty much a great example of why Wesker is on CT, because it seemed kind of perfectly suited to, consequential decision making.
Yes, indeed. I was taking a look back through our previous events to see, what our teams have picked previously. So Mastermind hasn't really seen the light of day for. I mean, we do have a rotating killer pool, so to speak. But yeah, Nocturne seem to be a team of variety, so to speak. Unchained, I think they've played in less events, so it's a bit hard to what did they play? They played Plague season 7, and they played Blight on season 8.
Yeah.
Were they in 6th? No, I think that they joined us from 7th onwards. So yeah, I mean, like both of these, I don't know how practiced these guys are on Wesker outside of Tenax, but yeah, they've certainly seen their fair share of killers as the event's kind of gone on.
Absolutely.
What I should mention, actually, I don't think we've mentioned is the winner of this will face Ascent, which is the number 1 seed for the tournament. So they've got a bit of a monster awaiting them.
No pressure.
Yeah, not too sure how they feel about that one, but yeah, I
that's
think
going to be a challenge
for either of these guys. I think Unchained have made it to quarterfinals once, but Nocturne haven't. So they are eager to get this win, eager to make it through.
Well, it's also a pretty good start with that Wesker round from Fra. We will see if the survivors can follow through. Loading in right now. Finally got our 4th survivor in the lobby.
Yeah, a few just a delay from the game. Just one of the last players joining. I also had a ref inserted into the match, so now that I can fully focus on casting and not
Of
scorekeeping.
course.
Hopefully you guys in the stream are enjoying the watch. Make sure you follow the stream if you're enjoying the content as well. We do these every 2 weeks, by the way. These events are every 2 weeks, 24 teams. There's going to be a permanent team cap. So if you guys are ever interested in playing also, don't be shy. Make sure you sign yourself up.
Want to be hyped up in the chat in the stream by me. Don't know why you'd want that, but apparently some people do. Right. Okay. Looks like the corrupt is similar to how it was in the first round, all clustered around main side. The hill spawn on this side this time, so kind of creates more of a split of resources. Yeah, there definitely doesn't seem to be the cluster of 4 gens unless I'm not paying attention properly.
Oh, this is going to force the shack drop. He could have maybe wasted a bit more time here, but there was a very risky send from him on the vault.
The lion does.
Oh my God, he was robbed. That was
absolutely Wesker robbed.
What in the name of the Lord was that?
Yeah,
he's not going to make that though.
If I was Luminous, I'd be upset as hell. But you know, got the health state, got Shack at 5, everything's fine. Don't even worry about it. And Chase is also being taken around the non-corrupted gen, which is exactly what the survivors here do not want.
Are you trying to make me angry?
I'm sort of noticing a lot of pallets, you know, like compared to last time, and a few more different positions on these tiles as well.
This is a much more chaotic start than Fra had. Rather not really committing to any one survivor, just kind of taking opportunities where you can get them. It certainly seems to be more immediately disrupting them off the gens.
Oh.
Let's see if this translates to a better start. Okay, Luminous gets nothing of those 2 rushes. There's a filler, but unfortunately Shack Pallet has already been used. So
good fake on the pallet vault. He should make window. It's gonna be pretty close. Never mind, he does not make that in a million years. What am I saying?
2 gens pops for first chase there. Is Luminous taking the basement hook? Because I'm not seeing where the 4th pain resonance is. There's 3 there. Okay, the 4th one's on the right side of the shack.
It's mid map. Did they pop that top mid gen? They did. Okay, so we've got that typical 3 gen that you see on the top side of the map. But it looks like we have a relatively split map.
It isn't the 4 gen that Fra had, so it's a little bit more. Especially in this map, also seems to be a bit more stacked. But still a pretty solid initial chase. Getting some important pallets out the way, including Shack at 5. The lion does not care for how many generators the Shack pallet is dropped at.
I mean, in competitive, Shack is just a filler. That is one of the comings of the new age.
You are nothing to me, but just another filler.
I feel like some of these hits are interesting. It doesn't look like they should not be hitting on my screen, but they just are. He's got a long range knife. He's got a sword, you know, like.
That's the fun part, isn't it? Luminous had immaculate ping in the survivor match, so I guess for the killer match, he's just covered his router in tinfoil.
Oh my God, he didn't notice the vault in time.
Tanzania. Cancelled your exit lag subscription between rounds.
Oh, the chem trap! I'm so glad we got some chem trap value.
Oh yes.
Well, should be a kill. Patient enough. That's going to come through. But this is very, very good progress for our survivors.
Crucially, they don't need to get outs here. They only need to get 5 gens done.
They need to get 5 gens done, and the win secured. Yeah. This is a bit of a win for Luminous though, because we have a pain res on that same hook, and that is within the 3 gen. So they're gonna have to try and see if they can get some like a safe unhook and get the survivor to safety. But this is I think this is relatively beneficial compared to it's a benefit. Oh, he spotted the unhooker. That's not good.
Fra Frog got noticed by the scratches. Oh, turns into Dismal around the corner.
Yeah, they need. Oh yeah, he can't go for that unhook now.
The 1-inch throw. Oh no.
Oh, he gets it though.
no.
I feel like that should not have happened.
Okay, taking another health state of Framoon, spreading more injuries and infections.
It's fallen apart a little bit. Did Atlas make it out? I feel like he can go for anyone right now because he sees all the survivors, knows where they are.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good. Oh, we have the pickup happening. Fra takes it down on that filler. Wastes enough time to get that pickup.
Yeah. There's an Atlas spraying themselves. So Luminous knows everybody is. 2 by the Adam, 1 on the floor, and Atlas is just removing their Ouroboros. Dismal is taking the chase again as far away from everybody else as they can. Fra is back up. Let's see how much time Dismal can waste here. All the gens right now, as far as I'm aware, are effectively at nothing. So there's no regression happening right now, but also the others, I presume, are resetting. So we will see. This becomes almost like a pressure, like a total pressure reset for both sides here. No gen progress, but also mitigating healing and reset. Another eruption is required. Finding Simora, who's probably the one you want to find the least, because they are a pain resistant use, but they're also not injured and not infected. That was a 1-inch throw. Thank you, Jewel Beetle. Can Simora make it? I think they can.
Performance in
Eruption down.
We've managed to get themselves out of that little rut there. Whilst my head was turned away.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, it's kind of been a full pressure reset for both the survivors and the killer. Gens are, as far as they were, effectively at 0 progress, or have at least been for a bit. But they've also managed to completely reset themselves apart from Adam's infection. From him taking up the chase. Oh, almost gets the slap. But not quite. Fra dropping another pallet. Yeah, this map, again, it started off very stacked, but obviously these guys have been dropping pallets like their lives depend on it, because they kind of have them. So we will see how long Luminous can drag this out and make them burn their resources, because there's only so much they can use. Oh, that's a fully effective chase of Dismal. Oh, and that's a slam against thin air. Oh, that's not what you want to see.
What on earth has caused that? Oh, Simora's in the line of sight, the killer.
Yeah, Luminous.
Just need to make us far, as much distance as possible. That pallet's going to drop, but he's going to zone them very smartly back to the top side of the map. And has been found, actually. This is going to be a death.
And that's likely Simora dead as a doornail. And that'll be first kill on the board with 2 gens remaining. Let's see if the 3 remaining players can force through the last 2 gens, because again, they don't need outs. They just need gens. 2 remaining pain resonances. Not going to be the easiest things in the world to fight through, given there's also going to be eruption and stuff going on. I truly don't know where this is going to go. My money would be on, especially after that, on Luminous having this into a 4K, but truly this really could go either way at this stage. One good chase could be all it takes.
They need to get one of these gens on the top side. It doesn't seem like they have any progress. Okay.
Yep, Mr. Tickle over here getting it down.
Throwing knives.
Go. Holy moly!
Okay.
That's what we want to see. If your name is John Nocturne, that's exactly the gen you want to get done at the moment you want to get it done. So
nice dodge.
Gen. Yes. From him again, kind of showing that knowledge of the killer that we saw so clearly telegraphed in Fra's own Wesker. You know, knowing how to turn these little obstacles and little blockers into a lot of power, and forcing a slam when you have to, as opposed to letting him throw you. Fra can avoid the down.
Should be a blind. Oh, it's very close to not being so.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this connecting pallet though. I mean, it's not safe.
Oh,
Oh, he ults though.
takes the vault. Oh no! But on the bright side for team for Team Nocturne, the 3 gen has been broken. So I'm curious to see like what Luminous does now, because there are again multiple different gens. He could be. There's a whole like arc of gens to contest now. The one inside makes it extra awkward because you don't have clear line of sight that one as you go into the building. He needs to get a kill. The only way out, I think, is to get a kill as soon as possible. He needs to have access to Atlas again. I think he knows it. Oh, there we go. Just as I say. I am sorry, Atlas. I fear I may have cursed you. And good to see
There's no point in
nothing
hiding.
here.
We're going into the 2v1. What are those gens looking like? You know,
Yeah.
have that progress. We saw a crow just land.
No.
Oh, and I don't think they get to pop this actually.
I don't think they do either. Like, Luminous might just stand around this gen as close as he can get if both of them are at distance, but there's every chance of Dismal is still zoned out here.
It is winnable, but it's Frost stuck in this corner. Who is this?
Yeah. It's winnable, but by no means a sure thing. Takes the M1, so his dashes remain back up. Can he convert to a down right now?
No,
Not quite.
he
Does he get the
doesn't.
vault?
He doesn't get the vault because the survivor takes priority. I don't know if that's still a bug or what, but Wesker just gets all slidey when
It
the
bounces
survivor's
off.
just vaulted. Oh, they're both injured though, and I think he knows where they are. Either someone does a sneaky little stealth there and tries to rotate back to the gen. Maybe takes a risky attempt at getting that last gen done. Could be very greedy. But
Because
can
awkwardly
they?
then the 3rd gen happens to be in the path they were running, so they can't even retreat to that gen.
Yeah, and they're stuck on this side of the map. There's no way that they make it to safety.
Yeah, this is a bit of a slog now. Like, the survivors have a path to victory, but it is quite a narrow one. And this now begs the question, what's the time looking like? Because this might go to time.
It might go to time. Yeah, they've got that. They've got those equal gens.
Yeah.
And if we could, you know, if we can play time, it's definitely an opportunity for the team to take the win. I think that's one of the things that maybe isn't the most attractive things for the players in this rule set, but it is essentially a strategy that kind of is added to these games too.
Yeah.
And they get the reset off. I'm so surprised that they managed to do that. They have to be over here. Yeah, I think Luminous realizes that like, there's no way that they aren't in this like area of the map. I'm not going to spoil myself. I'm going to stay on the killer POV, but
Yeah, me too.
I'll let you guys see it on stream if the producer wants to leak it. But
Oh,
there it is.
there
Yeah,
we are. There we are. That's the
But
effect of fans going into Frogman's location.
that is only one survivor though, and Dismal was not
Yeah.
infected, by the way.
Dismal not infected, and critically is also the last remaining Pain Resonance hook. So,
Ambitious.
You're eating that a little bit too good there, Luminous. A little bit too good. Need to, again, cancel your exit lag subscription.
Doesn't vault as well.
Frogman with
Patient.
nerves of steel.
This is absolutely the perfect time to have a good chase right now, because
Yeah.
he's gonna have to walk all the way over there. I don't know how close that gen is. It's gonna be pretty close. He's committed
Yeah.
for a good
But
20 seconds.
It regressed quite a bit off of the sheer time spent resetting, but I imagine that gen's probably within smooching distance of completion right now. Holy moly, that's very close. I always worry with his dashes down. Could he have committed to that? Because you only need to get it done.
Yeah, what you want is you want both survivors to be able to rotate down, and you want both of them to be doubling it. But like, how do you do that safely? How do you achieve that?
Yeah,
They
it's
are.
a nightmare. And again, Luminous is in a race against time now.
And I don't
He
think
has
this
to
is
kill them in decent amounts of time, or else Nocturne takes it.
If I was Fra, I would definitely be trying to either start a new gen, or try to sneak past. Don't know if he's. That was interesting. This is a really bad place to die, though. Oh, they get it done!
There goes Fra on the gen, and that is 5 gens completed. 14 Nocturnes, so they do take this Wesker set. You said it. You said that Fra's gonna sneak the. Fra has to sneak the gen, and little did we know. that Fra's well ahead of us all. As an adrenaline, just in case, just to rub it in, you know, it's like, hey, yeah, just because we don't like you, here's the adrenaline.
I have to say the time wasted by Fra there at Shaq is probably one of the reasons why that gen got done in the first place.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
And that is going to be outs as well. I mean, it's going to be at least 9 stages. I mean,
yeah. Oh, there's the 1-inch throw.
It's so weird when there's no sound there.
Yeah. So that is going to be 2 kills, which is not enough.
I mean, that is Nocturne's first win, I would say, in Tenax.
Absolutely.
Doing very well there in that West set. And I mean, I think that's one of the things that has been nice about adding an extra 8 teams is you can have a lot more of a balanced first round. I think how the tournament's been so far is it's been pretty one-sided in these first rounds. And so it's going to feel good for the team to get that win on this set. But they're going to move forward to the next round, and yeah, Ascent have got their opponent decided. So
that they have. If I was Nocturne, that's gonna be a hell of a round.
Let's have a look. I'm wondering if we have any like other results that we can kind of take a peek at whilst we're waiting. So round 2, match 8. It's gonna be Illusion Starwave. Okay, interesting. Let me yeah, I guess the bracket isn't updated really, but it's that's going to be my job now. I think what we'll do is we will throw it to a quick break, but as the matches catch up and the bracket forms, we'll get the updates on the next round. One of the benefits of streaming one of the more busy days is you get to kind of have live updates about how those games are going. But yes, it's going to be my only game that I'm casting. You're going to be joined by Stumpy, who is going to be replacing me. But I have to say it's been an absolute pleasure, Will, to cast with you and to come back to the desk for a game, and especially to present that kind of first game of our first day of first round 1. You know. It's been a joy to watch.
It's been good to have you. It's been good to have you here, Zach. It's been always a treat.
Yeah, hugely appreciate it. But yeah, don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back. What happens now is we have picks and bans for Ascent and Nocturne. Once those have concluded, it is just a best of 1, so it is a matter of getting those out of the way and then getting that match underway. But that will be when you will see us next. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more action.
I'll see you on the other side.